What's up, everybody? Andrew Messia here with the Medellin Buzz. In this video, I'm going to go over 3 major things that you learn when you live here long term. These are 3 things that took me a while to understand, to truly understand, and they're things that might hit you like a ton of bricks when you come down here to live long term. While I talk about those things, some of you have asked for a walking tour of my little neighborhood here called Manila, so let's get going. Number 3 is security and safety. Medellin is not as safe as the United States. As much as people want to argue that like, oh, you know, you can be in Southside Chicago, or you can be in Atlanta, and some places in Atlanta, or you can be in some places in Florida, or in California and get robbed, get mugged, get killed. Oh, you have active shooters out there and you can be killed at any point. The fact of the matter is that the United States is way safer than Medellin. That's a given. There's no argument in my mind. I've lived in both countries. I lived in the United States for 26 years. I've lived here for 13 years. And I live in the best neighborhood in Medellin, El Poblado. And I can tell you that it doesn't compare to any of the safe neighborhoods in the US. Always have safety on the back of your mind, whether you're carrying a cell phone, going to be wearing your expensive watch or an expensive chain. It's always on the back of your mind. So what's the response to that? It's not to wear it. I've never had that issue in the United States in any of the safe neighborhoods that I lived in, where I couldn't walk out, you know, and go jogging with my expensive watch or gold chain on. Here in Medellin, in El Poblado even, which is like the Beverly Hills of Medellin, you have that issue. And it's not like you're gonna get robbed right away, because people aren't just waiting to rob you. It's that people are going to be watching you. Let's say you're here for a month and you go out on the street wearing a Rolex, wearing an expensive chain. People are watching you, especially the people that work on the street, like the guy that helps park the cars, the prostitutes on Calle 10, the guys that are selling chiclets, the guy that's selling the fruit on the corner. They don't live in El Poblado. They live in very low-income neighborhoods, and guess what? They know all of the thieves. So if they can come up quick and say, hey, this guy comes to the sports bar, he was there last night and he's here tonight, come down now, take his shit and take off. I've seen it happen in the bar that I go to. I've been here for 13 years now, and I've never been robbed personally. I've never even been pickpocketed, and I go everywhere. I go to the bar, I do things. I will never be like 100% like, oh, just walking along my way. If I see 2 guys on a motorcycle pulling up with helmets on, and they walk off the motorcycle and they're not taking off their helmet, even if they have a wrappy bag with them, I'm on guard, because I know what that can be. Those are the things that happen here in Medellin. If you're here for a month or maybe just weeks, and you stay in El Poblado and you just frequent this area, or you stay in Laureles and you frequent that area and nothing happens to you, you're like, man, Medellin is safe. I don't know what people are talking about. But stay here a couple years, and I guarantee you, either you'll be robbed at some point, or you'll know people personally that have been robbed. The justice system in Colombia is horrible. In the United States, it's amazing compared to what it is here in Colombia. It's apples and oranges. The good thing about Medellin, though, is that you're never going to get killed by a mass shooter here, because that just doesn't happen here. I haven't heard of like a mass shooter going up into a mall or a church here in Colombia ever in my 13 years here. Culturally, men are more stable in these countries. Even though we have economic problems and poverty rates at over 30%, still, I think people are more mentally stable than that of men in the United States. And that's a terrible thing for them. But I think that's why a lot of people are discovering Latin America. If you are considering a move to Medellin, click on the link in the pinned comment or in the description below to the Medellin Masterclass checklist, which is a free checklist, over 20 different things that you should do before you actually make the move to Medellin. And it's completely free. You can download it. Just click on the link and go get it. It's free, so you might as well check it out. The number 2 thing that you will realize about Medellin and living in Medellin after living here long term is that poverty is a real thing here. The poverty rate in Colombia as a whole is almost at 40%. In Medellin, it's at about 30%. That means that 3 out of the 10 people that you see out in the street are living on less than $250 a month. So that's why when we talk about crime, even homelessness, or people out on the street asking or hustling or trying to get money out of, let's say, a foreigner that's just walking up and down the street, and then they get annoyed, like, man, I can't get away from this. It's because Colombia has a poverty rate problem, and most people are struggling. There's a reason why There's the papaya guy, the guy on the street corner pulling his cart, selling fruit, selling cell phone accessories, the guy driving around in the car trying to get your broken washing machine so that he can go repair it and resell it. There is an economic problem in Colombia. It's getting better little by little. Unemployment rate has dropped down since COVID, where it was at 15%. Now it's at about 9% here in Medellin. When people come down here and they see homelessness, even in El Poblado, you'll see like the homeless guy or the guy that's collecting cans, eating out of the trash can, the indigenous people begging for money. You're not going to get away from that. We'll probably not see that change in our lifetime because the government is corrupt, because people here are raised to be corrupt, to fear the government, to fear police, to know that police are just going to ask you for a bribe, to know that the government, when they get elected, they're going to be taking money from you. Culturally, people know that this is going to happen and accept it. When you come down here and live here, after the honeymoon is over and you realize that people are trying to get over on me, not because they're evil, but because they're struggling, because they need to feed a family, because they don't have opportunities like we do in other countries. You'll do one of two things. Either leave because you get tired of it and you're like, dang, I can't do anything about it. Some people just get frustrated that they can't do anything to help people because there's mass poverty. Or you could do the other route where a lot of people help. A lot of people become part of charities, volunteer work. They'll do fundraising events online, etc. But a lot of the times people do leave because it's just like there's not much you can do. The number one thing that you will realize once you live in Medellin long term is that you are not going to be happier. I'll say that again. After living here 13 years, I've come to the realization that Medellin will not make you happy. And what do I mean by that? I mean that if you are miserable where you are right now, and you're not happy, and you think that by changing your scenery, changing the city, changing your environment, you are going to be happier, that is not true. You might be happier for a few months, maybe even for a year, but once that honeymoon is over, those demons will come back and they'll probably be even greater when you're here because you're going to be isolated. You're not going to be part of a social circle. You're not going to have friends and family around you that you've had all your life. So you're going to vent. And you see those people venting all of the time in the gringo groups, trolling their own city that they live in. And you wonder, why are these people not happy? Well, it's because they're never happy. My suggestion to you, if you don't feel happy where you are right now, find a way to be happy. Find the things you love to do in the city you are in. Don't expect to move to another place and magically everything will be happier. Your life will be better. It might be for a little bit. But if you're not a happy person in your city, you're not going to be happy here long term. And that's evident, and you will see it all the time, especially in the Facebook groups. You see these people that are miserable, and you realize that these people will never be happy anywhere they go. Medellin is a paradise if you have the money to live here. And if you don't have mental health stability, you are not going to be happy long term, and you'll end up leaving, or you'll end up bitter here just as you are where you are. So work on yourself. My story is that I was deported from the United States. I was happy in the United States. I didn't want to leave. I wasn't escaping anything. I loved living in Southern California. I loved working for the attorney and mentor that I had at the time at 28 years old. I was surfing in the afternoons or sometimes very early morning, go to work, come back home, go to my local bar, watch baseball games with my friends, do all the things that American people do in Southern California. I loved that life. My life drastically changed and my scenery and environment changed, and I had no money and no friends and no network here. But I was a happy person and I had a positive outlook on life already. So I developed this amazing life that I have here. Since my money goes farther here, I have a personal therapist where you can talk to somebody, where you can realize like, wait, why am I doing this? Why don't I've been here for 13 years. Why haven't I had a long-term relationship or a long-term girlfriend? Why am I not married? What is it? Is it just because I don't want to? Or is it something deeper rooted? Like these type of things I work on all of the time. And it's because I want the most out of my experience on this earth. The journey, I believe, won't stop here, but I want to learn as much and experience as much as possible. So that's the number one thing to know about living long-term in Medellin, that it will not make you happy. You have to make yourself happy. I really appreciate you guys being here. I love all the comments. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. And again, go to the MedellinMasterclass.com/checklist. It's in the description below. It's also in the pinned comment. to download your free checklist for you to move down here. It's a checklist that we've labored over for many hours, me and AK, developing this checklist of what are the important things that people need to do before they come down to Medellin to get ready for their big move. So it's free, go download it. Developing this checklist of what are the important things that people need to do before they come down to Medellin to get ready for their big move. So it's free, go download it. Andrew Corbin, nice, take care. All right, thank you. Not great tales of Medellin life. Thanks, Mr. G. Nolan. Julio Macia, that's my dad right there. Julio, ahorita